from. We've got to know who you are now, because all of this reading is going to relate to who you are now.
Yeah.
So when you woke up this morning, what I'm going to do is I want to know about what you did in that first 10 minutes. You might have heard me do this in some other readings.
Yeah.
That very first 10 minutes, what went on? Did you roll over? Did you pet your cat? Did you think about something? Did you have a dream? Just give me 30, 40 seconds out loud, and I'm going to tune into that.
Yeah. So I woke up this morning next to my wife and Marley, my newborn son. I decided to go to the toilet, went to the toilet, and after I went to the toilet, I came back and sat down and shut my eyes for another 10 minutes. Then Gabrielle decided to go to the toilet, so I held Marley, and Marley was sick on me. So as she went into the bathroom, Marley was sick in my hands and on my bedsheet. Gabrielle got back into bed and wiped him with a tea towel. I then heard Heath crying, so I got out of my bed. I went into Heath's room, got him a nappy and put a nappy on him. I then went downstairs and got him a bottle out of the cupboard, filled it with milk, and went back upstairs to give Heath the bottle, opened the gate, and gave Heath the bottle of milk. And he was still a bit upset, so I transferred the bottles from one bottle to another because he didn't like this bottle. So then I did that. I shut the door, then I came back into my room, and I decided to go in the bath. And I got some Epsom salts out the cupboard, and I decided to have a bath for about 10 minutes.
Good choice. Then
what else happened?
Okay, I've tuned into you.
Great.
So your main origins before you immigrated here to Earth are Pleiadian and what another species called Nevaran. Nevaran. I don't even speak about these often. They're a species the Pleiadians shared DNA with before the Pleiadians became a complete unified consciousness. Like they're a unity consciousness species.
Okay.
And they lived on dozens of worlds. Their main planet became a unity consciousness species first, and then subworlds became unity consciousness, kind of like grapes growing on a vine.
Okay.
And the Nevarans were a species they shared their DNA with at a time where only the main planet was unity consciousness. It was a way to spread it further and further. The Nevaran people are, how do I describe this? They're human-looking. They're about 12 to 16 feet tall.
Okay.
And they have these strange appendages that go into ground. Like, imagine like an octopus tentacle that could come out of your lower back.
Okay.
But it's not. It doesn't look like an octopus tentacle. It moves like that. But it would go into the dirt, and then it can grow these fibers and tentacles into the dirt, and they can commune with the ground that is around them. Okay. Kind of like in that movie with I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, where they connect to the animals in that movie. Anyways, so they can connect into the ground, and they can read the actual grass, the plants, anything that has roots. They can read it, and they can share a unity expression with them.
Okay. And
before these Nevarans die, they'll put their rooting things into the ground, and then they'll pass their spirit into the ground of the planet that they die in, so that they don't have to go through the incarnation, reincarnation, death rituals. Okay. As a species, they've passed that on. And when the Pleiadians began mixing their DNA with the Nevaran DNA, it was an attempt to create immortality in their expression so that their unity consciousness could go and last for a very, very long period of time.
Okay.
It didn't exactly work. It had a number of negative side effects for both the Nevaran and the Pleiadian people, which caused, let's just say, false light technology to be able to be used in a scenario where it wasn't used before. And this started a conflict between the Nevarans, the Pleiadians, and another species called the Grajoran. Okay. They're a very, very aggressive species. They like to go in and take over worlds and then give the world limited technology so they can grow real fast, and then they'll come back 100 years later and harvest that world for whatever things that they've created, and then leave it and come back and leave it and come back, kind of like a farm.
Okay.
over and over and over again. You got caught up into a world that was very, very highly valuable. This world was like the diamond in the rough and a part of a galaxy that was in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So you're born a Pleiadian, but you have the DNA that was added into you at birth.
Okay.
And as you grew and grew and grew, you began to discover that when other beings died, you experienced their life review for them.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is some of the major things that are going to be coming through. Like when you first immigrated here to Earth, all of those skill sets that were psychically were put on hold until much later in your existence here on Earth, where these skills can be reintegrated with you at the DNA level.
Okay.
And one of those is how the Nevaran people can communicate with the plants, the grounds, the grass. And this reflects thousands of lifetimes where you've had a shamanic healing expression when dealing with trees and plants and animals and caves.
Okay.
You are a huge, huge cave person. You loved living in caves.
Oh, cool. Very, very
So
cool.
a little bit more of the backstory. So before you came to Earth, you were embroiled in a conflict, and this conflict led on this diamond in a rough planet, which ultimately created an uncreational event. So the Pleiadians, the Nevarans, and everyone else that was battling for that world, there were not just the three, there were others also. An uncreational event was created, and everyone lost their experience, wasn't able to be connected to their homeworld, had no ancestors anywhere in the universe, and they found themselves locked outside of time.
Okay.
Well, one of the particular skills that the Nevaran have was to connect to plants and animals, and space is no distance. So you discovered, even in the void space, in the middle of nowhere, where there is no time and no I am presence, how to connect to the planetary surface consciousness of other worlds that you've psychically bonded and connected to.
Okay.
And you use this energy as a compass in the void and began help guiding thousands of other people to where a portal was created by a planet that brought you back into time-space.
Okay.
And as soon as you got brought back into time-space is where you discovered Earth. And it was literally another expression of one of your future selves who had learned of your galactic history and realized that it could bring your original soul sovereign spark out at about 7 million years ago.
Okay.
So that's how you arrived at Earth.
Whenabouts did I first come to Earth? Did I get stuck into the Archon grid?
Yeah, everyone does.
Okay.
Your first time here, everyone does. Your first lifetime, you get to live with the majority of your memories of who you were before.
Okay.
And then, poof, you're back. You're into the Galactic Ascension machine on all four timelines, on all four paradox timelines, and with unawareness of your other versions of yourself.
Okay.
Well, when you arrived here, one of your other versions of yourself who had already been stuck in the Galactic Ascension machine was able to integrate with you and teach you how to be aware of the four paradox timelines and then integrate other beings who are having life reviews without having their life review.
Okay.
It's a super, super special skill. You can literally stand in the place where another being is supposed to have their life review, store that information, and then bring that to a being who never had that life review.
Okay. That's very, very cool. Cool. So with you saying with the shamanic stuff, am I going to remember and integrate more of this in this lifetime in the coming years when I grow a bit older, or the memories of when you said connecting to the plants and the trees and so on and so forth? And
the answer is yes.
Okay.
But you are the I am presence being who must go through the interpretation process.
Okay.
You are the one that must have the actual experience. You're the one that must have that first impression if an entity is good or bad. Can I trust it? Can I work with it?
Yeah.
Do I trust myself enough?
Okay.
So as long as you know that you are the experiencing being, the answer is yes. When you choose to go and experience them, and after some intermediate experiences, you'll be ready for more heavy experiences that leave lasting impressions on who you are, and what you want to do with this life.
Okay. So for now we're talking about this. What skill? So I'm basically trying to get self-employed at the moment. I'm doing angelic Reiki, so I'm doing hand healing and I'm doing voice toning as well and some other stuff. But I was just wondering, is there anything I could be doing which would help me and benefit for my work here? Maybe skill set.
I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get into some of the most important things that your soul is working on right now, and that's working on how to charge properly for the skill set that you're bringing to people, because most of the people don't understand what it is that you are actually doing.
Okay.
Even when you give it the words Reiki.
Yeah.
Because you're doing far more than just angelic Reiki. You're doing at the beginning of soul surgery. Okay. Psychic surgery. You're bringing in the angelic presences and doing your rote positions and energies, but there's a lot more that your spiritual body is doing. Like that extra tentacle I told you about. Yeah. You actually, when you're doing your psychic work, you have about 8 or 9 of these things that come out and operate just like extra hands.
Okay.
And you can give temporary control of one of these extra hands to the being you're actually healing so they can feel exactly what it is that you're doing. It's a way to gain the highest layer of trust with a soul surgeon. Okay. I have only seen this in a handful of people in my time that have skill sets like this. It means you've revived it, you've used this over many hundreds of lifetimes. It's been able to come through your past life memories, so that when you are doing a skill that you regularly do, which is healing hands-on, just like a silversmith of somebody of 50 generations, you're just natural at it.
Okay.
Learning how to use it at another level will help you see visually through imagery of what it is doing. Okay. So what you may want to do is, when you put your initial hands on a person, have an object like a stone represent the third hand or fourth hand, and you place it on the body, and it's a placeholder where literally that hand is staying there for the entire session while your other 2 real hands go off and do what it is you're going to do.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And as I said, you could have even 8 to 9 placeholders up. That is humongous if you have a person that's been heavily haunted. You can protect them at the organ level so that while you're doing the healing, the being isn't literally, the entity isn't stealing the healing right away.
Okay. So you say,
can remove.
So just say I'm doing the hands-on healing, maybe put a crystal or a rock on places on the body, and the other tentacles will then go to that part of the body.
And that's your anchor. Okay. Think of that as your anchor for one of those extra tentacles.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. And if you don't want to call it tentacle, I mean, that's just the way I see it. You can call it hand.
Okay.
Okay? You can call it hand.
Okay.
But you can, like I said, you can get up to as many as 8 or 9 of these. Okay. It all depends on the amount of trust the person has with you.
Okay. That's good. Really, really cool. So